Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to you wherever you may be. This is By Hook or By Needles, and I am Sam, and today I am bringing you the Battle of the Stitches tutorial for the, crossed half double crochet, or if you're in the UK, you would call it the crossed half treble crochet. Yes, I am turning my head in order to read it so I don't get it wrong. Okay, this stitch does not require a specific count, so it doesn't have to be an odd number or an even number. It can be any chain length you wish to start off with. I am using a cotton 8 ply. It's quite a thin 8 ply, but it is 100% cotton, so there is no stretch, and I'm using a 3.5 millimeter hook or size E for this. Now I'm just gonna, I will ask that you excuse my stained fingernails. I had I don't know, some sort of sambal sauce or something, and I got it all over myself when I was having my dinner, so yeah, it sort of stained me. I'm gonna start with 13. So we've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Now, I actually made this video 2 or 3 days ago, and I scheduled it and everything, and then I started making my project for Battle of the Stitches, and I suddenly realized I was losing a stitch every row, and I thought, well, gee, that's odd. And then I went back to my own tutorial to see what I was doing wrong, and I realized I was doing the tutorial wrong. So this is the tutorial again. This one is hopefully right. So in the third back bump, 1, 2, 3 from the hook, we are going to do a half double crochet, or rather we're going to start a half double crochet and leave it. I'm going to yarn over. We're going to go into the next back bump, bring up a loop. Did I say we chained 13? I think I did. We chained 13. There you go. And then we're going to go through all 5 loops. Now, you might be thinking, well, Sam, that's just a 2 half double crochets together. Yes, indeed, that is. But this is where it starts to change. Instead of going into the next back bump, we go back into this last stitch or the last chain that we used again with another incomplete half double crochet. Then we go into the next back bump and we pull that up, 5 loops on the hook, pull through all 5. Now we've got 2 stitches. Yarn over, we're going back into the stitch that we've just come out of, and then we go into the next back bump or stitch. And because I made a huge error with the last one, I'll be able to show you, oops, is that 5? No. Yes it is, alright. I'll be able to show you the mistake I made, so hopefully you won't make it as well. Okay, so we just keep going like that into the last back bump or chain, or oops, no, Sam, don't make a half double, and then the next back bump. Now I've done this stitch in a blanket that many of you may remember. It was called the Cat's Meow. And if that does sound familiar to you, you probably have been on Lara's channel, which is Mad Mimi Crochet and Farming, and she did very generously purchase the pattern for many people so that they would make it for Boggy Creek patterns. Unfortunately, it wasn't the pattern didn't sort of work out for many people. I don't think there were many who did the pattern as it was stated and were able to get the size that it specified. So, but the stitch was called, in that, it was called the locked half double crochet, I want to say. Yeah, I think it was a locked half double crochet, but it was exactly the same. So we yarned over, we went into the previous stitch, pulled up a loop, yarn over into the next stitch, and pull up a loop. We just keep doing that all the way, all the way to the end. And this is why I went down a hook size with this yarn. It's so silky and smooth. It's really is a beautiful cotton. It is a wearable worthy. Say that 3 times really fast. It's very soft. It's from Bendigo Woolen Mills here in Australia. And, oh dear, hang on, I'm just going to mute that. Why do I always get notifications when I'm doing tutorials? Okay, so we're getting towards the end. And that's where I kept, well, not this end. The first row I was okay, but it was the second and subsequent rows that I kept losing a stitch. And I'll, you know, when I get to the end of the second row, I'll show you where I was losing it. And even reading the description, I was a bit lost, but thankfully they actually had a schematic. You know, they had a crochet graph or crochet map of the stitch, and that helped immensely in me getting the stitch right. I love those drawings. Okay, all right, now when we get to the last stitch, when there's only one left, we do not go into there and into there. We just simply do 1 half double crochet into the back bump into the last stitch. Just 1 half double crochet. Now this should give us 10 stitches. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10. If you don't count the turning chain, which you sort of have to, but yeah. Then we chain 2 and we turn. Now we're going to work into here and there, and then there and there, there and there, there and there. So we go into the stitch, bring up a loop, into the next stitch, bring up a loop, go through all 5. Then we come back down, we're going into the same loop we just came out of, then the next one, and then through all 5 loops. And we just do this all the way across. So it's just the same as the first row, except for we're going into stitches now. And don't worry about how loose this is. It is just the yarn I am using. It's just the nature of the yarn. It gets very sort of, even though it's not stretching, it's just really loose. Not loose, sorry. It's really silky, so it's sort of slippery. Okay, and then we're coming to the last few stitches. Go into the previous stitch, into the next stitch, and then pull through. Now, if we count our stitches, we have got 2, 4, 6, 8. But, and this is where I went wrong. So I looked at this and went, okay, I've only got 1 stitch left. I need to do a single half double crochet. Nay. I have to go into this, pull up a stitch, then go in to the next stitch, which is this one, to do the final crossed half double crochet. Then I have to do a single half double crochet into the top chain, and that will give me the right number of stitches. So we got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So you just got to be really careful there. So you basically, I mean, you know, you could almost say you're working into that end piece twice. Once for the second leg of the last half double crochet crossed, and then once again basically for your single half double crochet. So we'll just do that pass one more time. So we come down into the stitch, into the next stitch, the hardest part about this is just remembering to go back into the previous stitch, not move forward to the next one. But once you sort of get into that habit, it flows quite well, which is what I love about half double crochets. They do flow very, very well. So into that stitch, into the next. Now I remember when I was doing the cat's meow, my count was constantly off, but I think it was more because I was forgetting to go into the previous stitch. And like I say, so it's one of these projects probably, or one of these stitches that you really don't want to move from this to granny square and then come back to this, because it's sort of one of those things where you get into a rhythm. If you're a knitter, you'll know what I mean. Like if you're doing knit one, purl one, knit one, purl one, and then you're going to stockinette, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, you have to reset your mind almost. And this is what this is like, because you're sort of going back into the previous stitch, then the next stitch, and together. Now we should have 8 on the hook. Let's have a look. 2, 4, not on the hook, we should have 8 stitches. 2, 4, 6, 8, yep. And then we go into the same stitch we just came out of, into the last stitch for our last crossed half double crochet, then into the top of the chain. Now if you can't get into the top of the chain, I don't see why there's no reason you cannot just go into the chain space, but try to get the chain, just purely because that will hold it firm and it will stop it from moving. It will stop the stitches from slipping down. So there we go. And now I should have 10, so I'm just going to check. And I strongly suggest that, you know, until you at least get into the rhythm of it, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, you do check your count every row for a while. Now, this beginning chain is very, very tight. That will be partly because I'm using cotton, but it's also partly because it's you're getting a lot of stitches into what should really be half the number of stitches type of thing. If you were using acrylic or something with give in it, it wouldn't be so bad. If you're using cotton, I would go up to a 4mm just to do your chain, and then drop to your 3.5 to do your first row. Or you might even need to go up to 4.5 to do your first chain. But yeah, as you can see, it's sort of it's an interesting stitch. It did not look like this when I was doing the cat's meow, but it was more closed in. But nevertheless, it is a pretty stitch. It's a padded sort of stitch, so it's going to give you, if you're using it for a blanket or a scarf or a hat, it's going to give you a fair bit of warmth as well. So there we go. That is the, hang on, let me have a look. Oh, it's disappeared. That is the crossed half double crochet. Yay, I got it right. Okay. So that's it. Any questions or any problems, please let me know. You know, leave a comment, question, whatever. Give me a tick. Subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Apparently I've got a lot of unsubscribed. That's 65-70% of the people who watch me are not subscribed. So, you know, I'd really appreciate you hitting that subscribe button if you have not yet done so already. Thank you. So please remember to learn from the past, think about the future, but always, always live for today and enjoy your craft. I will see you next time. Bye for now.